Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. Bonito, cheap, Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen him down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a meal, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's one time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. Told him come down and I'll meet him at a gate. a check and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex, but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all, I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, Bitcoin reclaiming very important support here at our value area low at about $91,500. We lost it momentarily last night, but we did end up getting those 4-hour bull divs to technically print, although not very pretty. We did get those bullish divergences to print. We got back above the level. Are we going to be able to see a little bit of relief here? Or are we just going to roll back over like we have been for quite some time and come take out the lows once again? We're going to cover it all in tonight's live stream, guys. Going to take a look at the money flow. We'll take a look at the liquidation heat maps. And something is weird with the lighting in here. Or maybe it's because it's dark outside right now. It's a different vibe in the studio right now. But, guys, we're going to take a look at the key levels. We'll take a look at the money flow. We'll take a look at the liquidation heat maps. We do have some liquidity sitting above. And we'll talk about the probabilities of potentially being able to see this push up continue. But shout out to the Mafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Shout out to Gary Rogers in the chat, like number 2 or 3. Shout out to Gary. Thank you for smashing that like button. If you guys appreciate the free content, go ahead and smash that like button. This channel is sponsored by you guys subscribing to the channel and smashing that like button. But let's see. We got Lucia in the chat said, can I know where this bitty paint gonna go? Shout out to Lucia. Well, hopefully we can figure it out tonight. We do have some higher time frame green dots looking to print. And yeah, we'll talk about it, guys. Overall, I will say I am still looking for lower prices eventually, but hopefully we can get some relief here. And I'll show you guys why I think that might be in store. We got Crimson in the chat. What is going on, Crimson? Welcome in. We got H-Bar to the moon. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. We got Dwarf something Dennis. Shout out to you, brother. Welcome in. We got Perry in the chat. Said, when you start the promotion of Black Friday, What date? Shout out to Perry. We are trying to get it all together. Potentially, we're probably going to drop it a little bit earlier. We'll probably drop it at some point this week. We're waiting for Tony to get the website all set up for the sale. But that will be coming down the pipes. We announced the actual discounts yesterday. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know as soon as that goes live. We got Gen Z in the chat, like number 60. Let's go, baby. Let's see. We got Rob the Crypto Snob, Crypto Billy, Darren Does Things, Jesse in the chat, Tyler Durden also checking in here. Show some love to our mods guys in the chat. They help us out endlessly with this YouTube channel. If you love them as much as we do, I don't know, drop a birthday cake in the chat for them, because we all know Rob the Crypto Snob has a birthday every single day. But guys, without further ado, we got a lot to look at here on the charts. So let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, so here we are, guys. Shout out to New Earth Guardian says, never fight the money blow. The money flow, absolutely. Shout out to New Earth Guardian. Yes, this is, obviously, guys, I don't want to spend too much time here, like, talking about how we got to where we are. I think everybody knows, right? Ever since we lost the 108K level, macro value area high. Once you get accepted below this level, very high probability that you are going to get that full fill of the range down to the value area low at about $91,500. And of course, we did get that full move. It took a little bit of time, but of course, it wasn't just the loss of the $108,000 level. It was also all of our money flow coming into the red. We had the daily money flow crossover into the red. We had the 2-day money flow still crossing over into the red, which is part of the reason why I do just want to be straight up here, guys. I am still, until we wind up breaking above some really big key levels of support, I am still going to be anticipating lower prices here for Bitcoin. Even if we do get some kind of a relief rally, we do have to be careful with those rises to the upside, because that money flow is, as always, going to indicate the overall trend, right? Doesn't call for the obvious little pumps to the upside, but when you have money flow coming out, you're getting green dots printing. You're looking at those green dots as lackluster retracements to the upside for lower highs and lower lows to continue. So that is still my buys here, guys. 2-day money flow still coming out. 3-day money flow still coming out. And again, you do have these VWAPs coming up to print that green dot. And if you're new to the CandleMafia and you do not know what those green dots mean, they do indicate the ebbs and flows in the market. As you know, price doesn't just go up in a straight line and then down in a straight line. You have these little ebbs and flows within price action, and those green dots, at least on these higher time frames, could indicate one of these little ebbs or flows to the upside, but with money flow indicating the overall trend, right? You have a green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, right? It could indicate a little ebb to the upside, but I am still going to be very vigilant on the way to the upside, looking for lower highs and lower lows to come until we see that money flow turn around on the higher time frames, guys. That just is what it is. But as you can see, we have come down to that value area low, and last night we were looking for something in the premium Discord here, specifically a 4-hour bullish divergence, which you can see here did indeed print, although very, very slightly, right? If I zoom in here to these momentum waves, of course, you do have the lower lows on, the lower lows on your price action, and what we need here for that bullish divergence is higher lows on our momentum waves, and you can see we did barely print that, but we did indeed get that higher low, and even if it was an equal low, that is still considered a divergence with the equal lows and the lower lows. However, we did also get some of these higher time frame bull divs to print as well. You have the 10-hour bull div, the 12-hour, somewhat of a bull div there, kind of invalidated, more exaggerated. But you do have that 10-hour bull div and the 8-hour bullish divergence as well, which is, of course, printing on top of those other ones, right? So we do have the daily bullish divergences down here, and I will just view this as a volume profile, guys. As you know, when we come down to these value area lows, this is typically where we're looking for long positions. Even talked about yesterday, like we're not looking for fresh shorts down here. Of course, right? Doesn't mean you can't continue down, but you're not going to be looking to take that entry there. You know, if you're looking for a short there at support, right, you've already missed a majority of that move. So in order for me to find a new short position, I need some kind of a significant retracement to the upside, right? So we did get that 4-hour bullish divergence. So just at face value here, guys, we're at support. We have the divergences printing. Of course, that is fighting against the money flow. So, you know, I'm not looking, do I think the bottom is in here? Probably not, right? That is kind of my overall thought process, of, you know, obviously based off the money flow, right? Higher time frame money flow. Of course, we could look for the bounces, but, you know, I am still going to be anticipating lower prices here. So I guess technically I do remain medium-term bearish or longer-term bearish, but we hopefully can see these bullish divergences give us a little pop to the upside into some local levels that we have above. And I'm gonna bring up these local levels above in just a second, but you know, I just kind of want to point this out, guys. It's like, sure, we could get the bounce, and the most important thing is here that we are now back above the value area low. It's just very, very simple when we look at these volume profiles. Once you break down below, you're anticipating the full fill of that range, right? Of course, assuming money flow is on your side, which obviously it was here. we don't really have that, right, on the reclaim of this value area low. You deviate below, this is what we look at as cheap, undervalued asset, and then we can look to ride that back in, maybe eventually into the POC of the range. But to see a major, major continuation up into some of these much higher levels, we have a lot of resistance to get through, and obviously the money flow is, not really pointing in that direction, right? Even if we did get this green dot on the daily, we don't really have any daily bullish divergences, and that money flow is also coming out, right? So that green dot, I have to be very transparent and explicit about this. I will be looking for it to be a lower high and then eventually a lower low to come in, targeting our bigger levels of support down below, sitting in this $80,000 range. We talked about this last night. We have this value area high sitting down here just underneath the value area low of our previous range. Talked about this on the market update yesterday as well, and you can see we did slip it, and now we have reclaim. So hopefully we could close this daily candle up here. This could be interesting for a potential continuation up. So we'll see what happens, right? It doesn't look to me like this is like, oh my God, this is beautiful, the bottom is in, but we did kind of SFP this little wick down here and reclaim that value area low. So that's a good sign, guys. As long as we can stay up above this value area low, currently sitting at about $91,491, we could potentially look for that next major target to be the POC of the range. I can't guarantee that's going to get hit with such kind of wish-washy charts, but that would be the general expectation here if we can hold on top of that value area low. And I'll even cover the line in the sand that if lost, right, well, obviously we want to stay above the value area low, but there's one more level down here that we could potentially bounce off of. But I just do want to be clear. I have a pretty hard job here, guys. It's like, I know it's like, oh my God, we're holding support, we're going to bounce. But I have to be very, very clear, right? This is not going to be the major expectation for, new all-time highs, right? And I'm just going to stop saying that because I think most people get where I'm standing, when it comes to that whole situation. But we'll see, right? In order for me to expect all-time highs, we got to get above the POC. We got to push into the value area high. We got to flip the value area high. And then more importantly, I want to see Bitcoin get above $111,000 to $112,000, get accepted back into this value area. And then we can start looking for bigger pushes up on price. Now, we still have resistance above there, but, there's no reason for me to say this is the bottom. Could it be? Maybe, right? But the signs are just not there on the charts. But hopefully we can get some kind of retracement here. Now, if we do get the push to the upside, what are those next key levels that I'll be looking at? Well, first off, we could pull up this local volume profile that we have right here. I'm going to pull it like this. So if we can get back above about $94,112, get accepted back into this profile, that could assist us in getting back inside this local volume profile and eventually looking up towards that target at about $96,700. You have the POC of the range, and we also have some pretty interesting confluent levels of resistance up here. Not only do you have the POC of your range, you also have a daily naked point of control and a weekly naked point of control coming in confluence with that value area high right here. So that is going to be, right, if we get this little bounce to the upside. Again, it's like I'm being very careful with the longs here, guys. I am building a long position down here, but, in this extremely bearish environment, we're obviously going to be favoring those short positions. The only problem here is we need a bigger retracement to catch that actual nice short setup. So, I don't want to come off like, oh, my God, the bottom is in, because I genuinely don't think that is the case, right? So, short term, maybe we can wiggle back down here, hold the value area low, get back into this range, and eventually target that POC, weekly MPOC, daily MPOC, and that value area high. So these are the local levels. I'll give you this range so you can pop it up on your own chart. I'll go ahead and drag that value area right here. And that gives you a value area low sitting right here at about $94,140. And then you have your POC sitting here at about $95,311. And then you have your value area high sitting up here at $96,550. So that is going to be the local range. We got to get back in there, right? This value area low obviously could be resistance until proven otherwise. And then if I pull one of our anchored VWAPs here, let me take this brush off the chart. Whoops. Take that brush off. And I'm going to pull this anchored VWAP up here from that previous high that we have here at about $107,500. And you can see this anchored VWAP will probably be moving its way down here as price pushes up if we can get that. So, I don't know exactly where this is going to be confluent, but if it does become confluent on this POC, weekly MPOC, daily MPOC value area high zone, right? We also, if we take a look at the liquidation heat maps, you can see we actually do also have a lot of liquidity sitting up above about $96,700. You can see it in all of its glory right here. And if we look at that, again, $96,700, it is pretty much just above these highs. So if that anchored VWAP is confluent, you have the weekly MPOC, the daily MPOC, the POC of the macro range, the value area high of your local range, and the anchored VWAP. Did I say anchored VWAP already? You have 5 levels of confluence there, so that is going to be a very big level. And if this all confuses you and you're like, oh my God, that's so many levels to pay attention to, we can, of course, just go ahead, take off that range. Let me grab this and drag it into the folder so I can just clean this stuff up just a little bit. And you can just see, right, daily MPOCs, it's the POC of our macro range, guys, right? And if we're going to bounce off that value area low with those bullish divergences, that is just eventually going to be the next target. I just like to give those intermediary levels so those of you who are watching the lower time frames can understand what levels need to be reclaimed in order to make it a higher probability to come into that bigger target. But if you're just here for like the medium term, right, obviously stay above this value area low. We could potentially see that push into the POC. Once we get up here, I will be interested in looking for shorts, but if those don't present themselves and we flip that POC, we can then start to look a little bit higher, closer to probably about, pull up our local range here, right? Probably closer to the $100,500 level. So those are the big key levels that I'm looking at. And again, when I look at these confirmations, you technically have the 4-hour bull div, you technically have the 8-hour bull div, but just remember, all the money flow is fighting against us. So yeah, I just want to be very clear about that. So let me come into chat real quick, see what you guys are thinking. Is the bottom in, guys? What do you think? What do you think? And just locally here, guys, we are rejecting the local Golden Pocket 786 retracement. Now, if we did come back down here, guys, I will say when we pull our local Fibonacci retracement, we do have a little bit of confluence here. Let me come on down to the 15-minute here, pull it from this. Bada boom, right? So like really the big zone to hold above is obviously the value area low is your exact key level. But you do have the Golden Pocket 786 down here. So if we're going to look for the continuation of this uptrend, you could come down, retest that value area high before putting in a higher low and continuing to the upside. So, just in general, right? We want to stay inside that range. And then if we pull our full Fibonacci retracement, we do have a 786 sitting here at about $90,103. And if we were to come down there, right, you could argue higher low, higher high, sure. But at that point, you're breaking down out of your value area. And on top of that, if this doesn't hold, right, higher low is invalidated. I'm looking to take out the lows here, which is my overall sentiment anyway, right? Whether we come up first, I am going to eventually look for breaking that low, even if we have to go for a big retracement for a couple of weeks. With that higher time frame money flow, we are going to be expecting that drop to the downside to continue based off the money flow, right? So, $90,103. We start losing that level. That's really the line in the sand that truly invalidates, right? Maybe you get some kind of full retracement to come in there, but you're going to have to fight the value area low again. And at the end of the day, if that fails, right, I'm looking to take out this low into our next local levels, right? And I want to be clear, right? This value area high at about $88,600. This is a level, right? It's the value area high of our lower range down here, but it is not the big level that I'm interested in massive swing longs at, right? The level that we're sitting at right now, I am building a long position here because this is a level that we've been interested in for quite some time for potential day trades or scalps that have the potential to turn into swing long positions, because don't forget, not only is this the value area low, but it is also your Golden Pocket retracement, right? When we look at this, this is kind of the zone that we've had up recently. Right, you have the Golden Pocket. You had many levels of support down here, but that Golden Pocket is one of the important ones, right? So it's like if we're not going to reclaim this Golden Pocket for a bounce, lose the Golden Pocket, I'm eventually going to be looking down to that 786, sitting in the $85,000 to $82,000 zone. But just to be aware, you do have the local level here at 88.6, and we can use that as context on what price will very likely look like, or what price action will look like if we get down there, right? If we push down, right, maybe we can look for little scalp longs bouncing off this level. But again, the eventual thought is that if you get accepted into this value area low or value area high at 88.6, you're probably going to start heading down towards your POC, which lands you dead in the middle of this swing long zone. So we'll cross this bridge if and when we get there. Same levels that we've been looking at, but just broken down into this little local volume profile. So the hope is stay on top of the volume profile, keep pushing up. If that fails, we're looking down here. Lose 88.6. We're looking down towards that bigger zone between $85,000 and $82,000. Let me see. Shout out to K Diggity in the chat. Said, I don't know about that. Zer, I sure hope so. I got a few S coins, but I'm mostly out at this point. Shout out to K Diggity. Hopefully you got out either at break even, in profit, or maybe even a small loss. Hopefully you didn't have to sell at a massive loss. Let's see. Money flow hopefully goes into the green, and this is just a big bear trap. Shout out to Dylan. I hope the same thing. The only problem here is, like, even if we start seeing, like, our lower time frame money flow come up, one thing that I am looking at here is the 30-minute money flow, which is clearly trending to the upside with our 8-hour green dot printing, right? So you have the bull div, you have the 8-hour green dot. if we are going to get the continuation up, it would be beautiful if we can get it on that 30-minute money flow crossover. It gives you a market cipher B 1/16th bullish setup. But even if we see that, right, this is a 30-minute money flow crossover. This crossing into the green is not going to invalidate my longer-term thesis based off the 2-day money flow. To see this 2-day money flow and 3-day money flow, I mean, heck, 2-day, 3-day, 4-day is still trying to continue out here. Your 5-day is in the red. Your 6-day is coming out aggressively. It's going to be, we really need to see a strong turnaround on this money flow. And on the higher time frames, it is somewhat difficult to do. So if we see that 30-minute money flow crossover, I'm going to view that as, an indication that we could get the continuation up for higher lows and higher highs. But this 30-minute money flow, no matter how high it comes up into the green, is not going to invalidate. This 2-day money flow is probably not even going to move if that happens. So just to kind of separate the time frames, right? Like the bullish setups here on the lower time frames, and then, the overall longer-term trend to continue down is based off, obviously, the higher time frame money flow. So I hope this is all a fake out, guys. It definitely, obviously at face value, this is coming out. Trend is much more likely to continue down based off of this. That's what I'm going with right now until we start seeing like the real flips of support. I wouldn't even say it's likely to get a fake out here, but we'll just have to wait and see, right? It's not something you could predict. So we'll see. I do pray, though, right? I hope this is a fake out, and we do not have to go down to these lower levels. But as of right now, that is my expectation. Until something changes, if something changes, I'll let you guys know right away. And you guys will see me come up here and be like, oh, my God, guys, it's starting to look like pretty good. But we are pretty far away from seeing that happen, right? It's like even if we flip the POC, it's like we're still going to come up into those massive levels of resistance that we have up here, which, of course, is on your local range. And you also have MPOCs in here as well. You just got a lot of resistance to break through there. In my personal opinion, well, not really my personal opinion. I mean, the resistance is there. I personally believe we'll probably have a hard time getting through it. Let's see. Shout out to Kusi. Shout out to Kusi. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, do you see a downwards parabola forming on the daily from the top of BTC and ETH? Looks possible. If that's the case, expectation would be a major capitulation candle to the end to end the parabolic advance. Shout out to Kusi. I mean, right now, with the information we have on the charts, again, my indication is a continuation down, right? We've talked a lot about the potential for a bear market to start in 2026, or, who knows? If the top is in right now, right, we could say the bear market is starting. But, the overall anticipation based off all the things that we talk about, I mean, really what makes this look bearish is the timing of the cycle, right? And I don't think anyone can argue that, right? Like the timing of the cycle is pretty much spot on for the top to be in here. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm 100% believe the top is in, but when we just like look at these evidence pieces, right? Like there's many reasons. It's not just the money flow. It's not just the bearish divergences. It's so many things, right? And one of the most obvious things here, based off, what we've seen happen in the past on the 4-year cycles, which, by the way, I do not follow religiously. I am aware that they can break. I personally don't even really think that, the Bitcoin 4-year cycle is what moves the market, right? We all know Bitcoin tracks traditional finance. This is an indisputable fact, right? But at the end of the day, right, it still does line up with the 4-year cycle. And when you start measuring this stuff, right, we always talk about from the halvings to the top. In 2017, right, 525 days from the halving to the top. Halving to the top in 2021 was 546 days. And right now we are at about 532 days, which makes a lot of sense, right? You're not going to say it repeats, right, but it is definitely rhyming so far. And then, like, even if you start measuring other things like the tops to the tops, I'll hide this so it makes it a little easier, right? 1477, 1428. We're at 1421 at the current high right now. So all this stuff, right? I don't think anyone can look at this and be like, this looks kind of interesting. And then you start to add on the fact that you have a lot of the bearish confirmations that we have been looking at, right? You have the weekly bearish divergences, the monthly bearish divergences, and the 2-week bearish divergences, all which popped up in 2021, are all forming right now. You can see the lower highs. You can see the lower highs. Obviously, the higher highs, the higher highs. So, a lot of this stuff has me, right, as someone who's been through a few cycles here in crypto, we've seen this in the past, right? And almost every other time, right? We didn't really get the weekly bear divs up here on in 2017, but historically, I get why people are very worried up here, and I kind of fall in that camp, right? Like I look at this and I'm like, I mean, all the bearish signs line up, right? And this isn't even mentioning that our money flow also looks very similar as well, right? After those bearish divergences this late in the cycle, and if you don't think we're late in the cycle, you can just go ahead and pull up those measurements again, right? It's like it's getting there, right? And there's nothing saying that you can't just, this time is different, right? Maybe you just continue up. I'm open to that, obviously. I think it's, as traders, guys, I talk about this all the time, right? It's not about picking up or down and just like religiously rooting for your team, right? This is a self-destructive mindset. As soon as something changes and it looks likely that this time will be different, I will factor that in 100%, right? Because I'm aware that if something actually changes macroeconomically, right? Like the money printing is coming, right? When is that going to happen, right? Because if it's not going to happen very, very soon, even if we're not going to see that full-blown bear market, that situation that we've covered many times in the past is, regardless of if we go into a full-blown 70% bear market, give or take, these bearish signs are still on the chart. The money flow is still coming out just like it was in 2021. Maybe it's a little bit of a muted bear market for many different reasons that we've gone over many a times. But at the end of the day, right, like the chart still does look bearish. So, I would be expecting that, big moves to the downside in general, right? Just based off the charts alone. So there you go. That kind of lines up with what you're talking about. And it would be obviously the same thing across all markets, right? Or all across all of crypto. So yeah, I think just organizing it like this, like you could just kind of look through this stuff, like same exact bearish signs, almost the same exact measurements. Right? Like everything is just like a few days away, right? Like everything is just lining up almost perfectly here, which again is a little bit worrisome in my opinion. Now this doesn't like, oh my God, doom and gloom, bear market's over, bear market's here, bull market's over. But it does look like there's a lot of information pointing in that direction, unless something completely different happens. I know a lot of people are looking at the structure here. They're like, until we break 75K, this is bullish. Yes, right? But a lot of people would be like, well, hey, until you lose $28,000, it's bullish. But at that point, right, like this is already where you would probably be wanting to dollar cost average in. This is where I started dollar cost averaging. We got the first big drop down. I start dollar cost averaging. And then you kind of get caught off sides there a little bit because you're thinking like, all right, that's it. Now, bear market's just beginning, right? It was just like one last dump, a little bit of consolidation, and then the bull run comes in. And this was all front runnable by looking at that money flow, which looks eerily similar on top of all the other things that I just showed. So again, I'm not saying it has to be a 70% traditional bear market, but maybe we do have these bearish signs play out. Maybe we get the retracement, we start coming down, and then it gets cut a little bit short maybe when they start printing money, and then we don't have to wait as long for the bear market to bottom. And also maybe it's a little bit less drawdown. Maybe we're not going to go for the full 70% correction, and we'll, as we get closer to that situation actually coming to reality, we'll cover some of the key levels that we'll be watching. But at this point, it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like, you don't have all the retail up here. You don't have massive euphoria. There's many reasons, right? We have a lot of institutionals, a lot of institutional interest, right? Institutions are here. All this stuff can like mute the bear market just a little bit. So again, I don't know exactly how this is going to play out. And by the way, guys, nobody does. Literally nobody does. But when we see all these things playing out, it's hard for me to not see that stuff and start to question things. So yeah, shout out to whoever sent that super chat. I forgot who it was. Shout out to Kusi. I pretty much agree with you there. The charts are pointing for something like that to happen. Shout out to Thomas J. Thank you for the super chat. Said, would the validated inverse head and shoulders today mean reverse? Shout out to Thomas. Listen, like depending on what you're considering a reversal, I wouldn't say there's anything on the chart right now that indicates massive reversal to all-time highs. If that's what you mean, I don't know exactly what inverse head and shoulder you're looking at. Maybe you're looking at this, right? In that case, this is almost played out in full. So sure, that could mean like reversal, right? But I just doesn't change the higher time frame situation for me personally. So we'll see what happens. Local Fibonacci retracement continuing to give us a little bit of resistance there, giving us the push down. So we'll see. We got to get above that 786 to crack into that upper profile that we just showed earlier in the stream. So yeah, there's your inverse head and shoulders. And to be honest, right, like this actually kind of did play out like almost perfectly to that technical target, right? Which would be from the neckline to the low. There it is, right? Maybe a little bit higher. Again, not that I would be looking for that to hit it to the dollar, but that's probably what you're looking at. This still wouldn't indicate anything on the 2-day getting invalidated, but of course, it is somewhat of a bullish pattern for a continuation up. But you've already seen the breakout of that. So shout out to Thomas. If that's what you're looking at, yeah, there's the reversal right there. Just doesn't change the higher time frames for me personally. Let's see. Shout out to JB, said so many people act like they know exactly what is going to happen. I like how Frankie says no one knows because they don't. Yeah, shout out to JB. I mean, this is a fallacy. This is not an opinion. Nobody knows where this is going. And here's the problem, right? As an agnostic, egoless trader, right? You need to have no ego when you're trading, right? And I think like social media kind of like negates that, right? Because social media is all about like, you're an idiot if you think it's going down. You're an idiot if you think it's going up. I see people in those arguments, and I'm just like, you guys are playing a game that is just false, right? And, a lot of people, I could sit up here and be like, guys, 100%, right? Like, and I have evidence to back it up, right? It's like, all this, guys, the top is in. I could fully, confidently, come up here and say the top is definitely in, right? But I've been through enough cycles and I've been trading for long enough to understand that things can change. And oftentimes when people say this time is different, a lot of times it's just based off of like some kind of narrative. It's kind of like they're holding on to hope for no reason. But here, the reason why I am actually entertaining somewhat of a different type of bear market to come in, and to be honest, right, like let's say we get like a 50% drop to the downside. I mean, that's Bitcoin at 62K. I mean, we were back there. We were down there last year, right? So it's like, but the only reason I entertain that is because I think to myself, like, if this, then that, right? If they start printing money, could that affect the market? And the answer to that is absolutely, right? But we need to see that happen, right? Just like trying to trade based off the anticipation of that. Like, think about this. Let's say they don't start printing money until, halfway into 2026 or maybe sooner, but it's probably not going to happen tomorrow, right? So, you can use the narrative of, oh, money printing is coming. Don't, buy the dip, right? But if that money printing doesn't happen until, into 2026, all these bearish signs have plenty of time to play out and give you some drawdown, even if it's not a traditional 70% correction into a traditional bear market, right? So like all these things can happen, right? And it's so hard, like especially even with the TA, right? It's very hard for me, even if we have all the confirmations. Of course, I make the decisions based off the chart as if I'm very confident in the move. But it's impossible for me to come up here and be like, guaranteed bear market. I can show you the evidence and say, hey, guys, stack up the evidence, right? It's like very similar. And that does make the higher probability that we will continue down. But just to say like 100% certainty is impossible. The best traders in the world do not know exactly where this is going. And I think it's a big misconception with TA and trading, right? It's not about predicting the move 100%. It's not about picking up or down and saying it's 100% going in this direction. You're never going to get to a point in your trading or TA where you're just doing the TA and you're like, it's guaranteed to go up and it's a stress-free trade. Now, are some trades easier to take than others? Yes, but it's never a stress-free 100% lock. So, when you look at it like that, you have to shift your mindset a little bit, right? TA is about probabilities, not just betting on a price 100% going up or 100% going down. You want to find the higher probability outcome, and you want to make that bet with good risk management, because even the highest probability setups are sometimes not going to play out. And if you sit at the computer and you're just like mad at the market because the setup didn't play out, you're blaming the wrong thing, right? You have to understand that taking losses and trades not going your way is 100% a cost of doing business, right? If you're going to trade, you're never going to get to a point where you win every single trade. No one does that. The best traders in the world lose trades. So you kind of want to just look at it from a probability standpoint, right? And when I stack all these evidence pieces, it's impossible for me to say that it doesn't look very similar and very likely that a bear market is coming. Does that mean it's 100% certain? Absolutely not. And it never will. If I thought we were going all the way up, it wouldn't be 100% certain either, even if everything was pointing in that direction. But the higher probability is what I bet on, and then I expect sometimes I'm going to have that high probability move and something crazy happens, right? And I'm fully aware that something like that can happen. But right now, the higher probability based off the charts is a continuation down. I'm going to continue to play that, right? We've been playing it for quite some time, and we've avoided a lot of really bad long positions on the way down. And by looking at the money flow, it's very, very simple to understand. It's very simple to see. Money flow red, trend continue down. Money flow green, trend continue up. And then the higher the time frame, the bigger the trend, right? That's why I say that 30-minute money flow crossing into the green isn't just going to negate that 2-day money flow coming out, right? You can get the 30-minute money flow to come up, right? And then it's just a lackluster retracement for a lower high and a lower low. Because it's just a fact of the matter, right? It's very easy to trick people and, make them think that you know what's going on. I just won't do that, right? Because I just know it's not the case, right? So it's like a short-term strategy. I'm in this for the long term. It's just the truth. Shout out to, I forgot who said that, but 100%, it is a, shout out to Mickey. That's crazy, bro. It's just the truth, right? But we'll see. And then more often than not, almost every stream we come up here, we're like, hey, guys, the TA played out. But there's been times where the TA has been wrong, and there will be another time where it's wrong. And I can root for it to be wrong. I pray that the TA is wrong here and we can just push off into new all-time highs, but I just don't see it. So we'll see. It's definitely the lower probability situation, not an impossible situation, just lower probability. Let's see. Crossing the street is not 100%. Shout out to Mickey. Mickey says, let's be clear, Frankie. Shout out to Mickey. I thought you said I was. Mickey says, let's be clear, Frankie is not certified financial advisor. Please do not complain if you get burned or something. It's a bear market. We treat it as such. And of course, we will be making money on those shorts. We already have made a lot of money on the shorts on the way down. Last setup from up here at that previous high at 107.4. I personally was not on the charts for that trade, so I missed this one. But we caught all the other ones. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. The bull market started November 17th. Shout out to Leonard. People have been saying this for so long. It was November 3rd, I think, was the first one. I don't think you said that, brother. Leonard did not say that. But November 3rd, I think, was the first time the bull market was supposed to start. Somebody said November 17th. I don't know. Hopefully you're right. Shout out to Leonard. I pray that you're right. Let's see. Do I think NVIDIA earnings will move Biddy, or was that move today? I mean, listen, if something crazy happens in NVIDIA, if the stock market starts dumping or pumping tomorrow, I would expect Bitcoin to follow for the most part, generally. Shout out to Mousa says, ETA, please. Yeah, we will take a look at Ethereum. Actually, I'll just take a look at ETH right now, right? If we take a look here, we are seeing almost exactly, or not almost, we are seeing exactly what we wanted to see down here on Ethereum, which was what? Does somebody remember in the chat? We have this daily MPOC sitting here at $3,025. What did we want to see here? Very similar to the confirmations that we wanted to see on Bitcoin. We wanted to see that lower low put in with our higher lows on our momentum waves here, specifically on the higher time frames, such as the 12-hour. There's the lower low. We are currently attempting to hold this daily MPOC with the bullish divergences, right? And again, just because there's a bullish divergence, well, I mean, money flow is coming out here, right? So the divergence is already a little bit less significant than if money flow was coming up. But just because there's a bullish divergence here, guys, does not guarantee that you're going to get the move. Sure, the continuation up here for a little retracement could be the higher probability based off the bullish divergence, but it doesn't mean that it's 100%, right? So if you were taking a long here, not that I would enter right now, but if you were looking to take a trade, something like this, right, you got to have that stop loss set. Because, like, even if you did have money flow coming up, there's a chance that might not play out, right? It's not going to be 100 out of 100 trades setups are going to play out exactly as you would expect. But we do. Right, what can we say for a fact? We have the lower lows. We have the higher lows. The green dot is printing on the 12-hour. 16-hour green dot is also printing. So I'm going to shuffle down to those lower time frames with a 16-hour and a 12-hour green dot. We want to see that 1-hour money flow. Looking a little suspicious here, if I'm being honest. But we need that 1-hour money flow to cross over into the green. We still have 37 minutes left on this 16-hour candle, so I don't know if you're going to get it, if I'm being totally honest. And then your 12-hour green dot printing, you would want to see that 45-minute money flow coming into the green. We've already crossed into the green. Now we're back into the red. So pretty choppy situation there, but we do have the 12-hour bull divs. Hopefully, if we can hold that daily MPOC, we can get a little bit of a retracement up. The key levels of resistance remain exactly the same as yesterday. Biggest level, if we get a significant retracement, is going to be the value area high at about 35.30. Simple, right? I don't want to overcomplicate this. Higher time frames, looking eerily similar to Bitcoin, right? So again, not like, oh my God, the bottom is in, new all-time highs. As a matter of fact, if this even plays out, I would expect it to be some kind of a lackluster retracement before lower prices. But we did get those confirmations to print, which is somewhat nice, right? Daily green dot also looking to print. You have a slight daily bullish divergence as well. You can see the higher lows there. Check that 90-minute money flow. 90-minute money flow cracking into the green here as well. That is a market cipher B116 strategy. Again, not a guarantee, but they are there. So it would not be surprising if you could hold this daily MPOC and continue up. That would be very nice. 4-hour money flow, fighting for its life here, attempting to come back up. Even has some local 4-hour bullish divergences down here. But again, guys, this is an extremely, extremely strong downtrend. Like even Bitcoin, right? Like you're barely able to make these higher lows, right? You got the first big drop, lower high, lower low. You kind of just swept the highs there for a lower low. Even here, right? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So we would expect that trend to continue. Even if you break the local structure, you could still put in these bigger lower highs. So very aggressive downtrend. So it's like, got to be careful with the longs in a bearish environment like this, just to be clear. But if I do stop out of the short long here, again, I will be looking to potentially build a little bit down here and add to the positions if we could hold the value area low. But if we wind up losing that, right, the next place I'm really interested in, I mean, 88.6 maybe for scalps, but for the most part, for bigger trades, the next area of confluence, if we take all these volume profiles off the chart, right? Next area of confluence, there's not a lot here, guys. Fast move up could be a fast move down, right? So I'm not going to look at that 88.6 level as a big level. I would much prefer to come down here to that bigger confluent level of support. So if we don't get a significant retracement from here, the next best shot is going to be in the $85,000 to $82,000 range. So again, even looking at Ethereum, it's the same thing, right? Very, very aggressive, strong downtrends. You just got to be careful. We're also inside the macro volume profile, which of course, right? What happened when Bitcoin lost this value area high? We eventually did continue down to the POC and the value area low. A lot of people did not want to believe that when we talked about it for months, right? All the way back here, we talked about if we lose this, it could be very bearish for a move to the POC and the value area low. We got the bounce. We looked for the new all-time high. We get it. Eventually, we lose it. We fill the range in full. Now, obviously, Ethereum is much further up in its profile. So hopefully, you can, if you do get the bounce, right, hopefully we can break out of this range and start getting accepted up here. But until that happens, right, I have to be aware that this is a strong downtrend. The trend is your friend until the end, right? And the trend is obviously down here very aggressively with money flow on the higher time frames coming out, indicating that the trend will likely continue to the downside, right? So we'll see. We lose the daily MPOC. Next key level on Ethereum remains exactly the same, sitting at between 28.19 and 27.19 near our daily MPOC and our 786. But we are holding our daily naked point of control right here. Doesn't look super. It's like she's trying. She's trying. We got to stay above this level, though. Let's see. Oh, shout out to Neon Visual said, when Frankie coin? Probably never, man. Probably never, unfortunately. I would love to do it. It's just going to be a lose-lose for me. It's like no benefit to me whatsoever because it's like, I've said this so many times. Like, you know, if I made our own meme coin, it would be really fun for the community. But there's probably just no way I get out of that without hurting my reputation, right? Like, I built this whole channel and this whole brand off of, like, trust at looking at the charts and, like, not just telling people they can get rich quick. And, you know, I don't need to – I've just never seen a community coin go well, right? So probably not. If you ever see a Bing Bong token or a Frankie Candles coin, guys, it is not me. Maybe one day, but I highly doubt it. I wish I could. The risk to reward just isn't there for me. Let's see. Shout out to Amori, said Bitcoin account on X posts 46,000, deletes the post a few hours later on a yearly support level. What? Shout out to Amori. Shout out to Jesse. Let's go. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Say, come on, smash that like button, Mafia. Smash up the like buttons, guys. We're going to go for like 2.6 mil today. I think we hit 1.3 million yesterday. Let's get 2.6 million likes. We're far away. Smash up that like button, guys. Break it. I want holes in your mouse or your phone screen. Shout out to Franz. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Said, smashing it, bro. Stay real. TA on ZEC when you can. Shout out to Franz. We'll try to take a look at ZEC for you, brother. Thank you for the super chat. Solana, we'll take a look at Solana. Somebody's always asking about Frankie coin. Yeah. I mean, if I do it, I'll let you guys know. But I wouldn't hold your breath. It's just, I don't know. Like, just think of any influencer that's made a coin. It's just like, even if you do it the right way, I think people are just going to think you're being shady. It's just not worth it for me, honestly. It's like a quick, I think most people probably do it for a quick money grab. I don't need the quick money grab, to be quite honest. When 100K subscribers, shout out to Leonard, man. When we hit 100K, we're going to do a really cool giveaway. We might give away like a Frankie Candles branded PC, maybe like a trading PC. I don't know. We're gonna do something big though. 2 accounts smashed. Shout out to Manny. I appreciate you, brother. Yo, shout out to What If. Says, if the top is in, what if? Says, what if the top is in? Where are you looking to bottom out at? We talked about this very briefly yesterday. Listen, when we get closer, right, it's just very hard for me. Like, I always kind of talk about when we came down last cycle, right? I almost nailed this. And I don't say this to brag. I don't say this to, like, you know, boost my ego. I could really care less about, like, making calls, right? But we got pretty close, right? I was looking between 12 and 14K. But really what I was looking for, it's never going to be, like, where would I expect it to come in? Last cycle, 12 to 14K was what I was looking at. We hit 15.4, 15.5, right? Not too far off. But one of the things I was looking at was the actual, once again, right, just the technical confirmation on the chart, which was a weekly bullish divergence with the lower lows on our price action, higher lows on our momentum waves. And I have a video on the channel talking about this. So it's like, I'm never going to wait for the exact level to get tapped, but I'm going to be looking for these bullish signals at certain major key levels. So it's very hard for me to say exactly where, like if we saw weekly bullish divergences lower, I would have thought the bottom was lower, right? If we got it higher, I probably would have thought it was coming in a little earlier. But you know, when we talk about this, the next biggest levels of support underneath us, and we'll talk about this a little more when we get closer to it actually being relevant. But like one of the big levels that I'll be looking at is just this major volume profile from the 2021 bull market. And that's if we get down there, right? If we go from wick to wick here, that would be about a 60% correction. Obviously, very, very possible for a bear market. And that sits between about $57,000 and $50,000, right? You have the value area high. You have your macro golden pocket pulled from the absolute bear market low to the current bull market high, right? So this would be the fib unless we come up and make a new high before the end of Q4, hopefully. So that would be kind of like, and we'll have local levels as well. We have this area of value that we can look at. That'll be the first zone that we're looking at. But long term, right, if you're going to be expecting at least like a 50%-ish drop, this will be the first major level to look at, right? Because if we do come down there, you would hope to hold on top of this, right? If we get massive weekly bull divs, depending on the timing of it, you know, what the macroeconomic situation is, because of course, if that changes, this whole situation will change. But if we got all those signals, right, and everything was looking good here, you know, that could potentially be one of those little muted bear markets, right? Get a drop down to, say, 60K for a, drop down to 51K for about a 60% correction. To the top of that box would give you about a 53% correction, right? So if you get a little bit of a muted bear market, that would be kind of big zone number one. If we did not get the confirmations, right, we didn't see these massive weekly bullish divergences or anything like that, and it looks like we're going lower, well, we know if we lose this value area high at 51K, we're probably going to be looking down to, and again, lose the golden pocket, where are you going to be looking? You're going to be looking down towards that 786. If you lose the value area high, where are you going to be looking? You're going to be looking down towards that POC, which would probably bring you right down here on those two levels, sitting between 39 and 34K. And again, I'm not saying that we have to go down there right now, but, you know, as we, you know, if we do go into that bear market and we see these moves down, this is just like general top-down view of what I'll be looking for. So there you go. You know, we see that week. And again, guys, like the simple signal to really look at is the weekly money flow crossover, right? If we wind up getting retracements here, maybe we chop around a little bit. It's probably going to be really ugly and annoying, very similar to what happened here, right? If we see something like that and this weekly money flow continues out, every single cycle, the weekly money flow has indicated that the top is already in and you are headed deeper into a bear market. There's the money flow crossover. Same thing here. There's your money flow crossover, right? Literally giving that last warning before the big drop down. And it even happened all the way back here, right? Weekly money flow crossover, drop deeper into the bear market. Top is obviously in. Now, it's not the first signal that we look for, right? Obviously, we have the loss of the 50-week moving average, which gives you the signals much higher. You have the lower time frame money flow, like the 2-day and the 3-day, which gives you the early signal, right? We even had some of the daily money flow coming out here, even earlier signal. But it's just kind of the early warning shots. But once that higher time frame weekly money flow crosses over, it's probably going to be very likely, right, that we're going to see that continuation of the downtrend. So I would say, you know, between 58 and 51K, probably be a big level to watch. And, of course, we will have local targets as well, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So there you go. Little insight on what I look for and what I have looked at in the past to identify if the bottom is coming in. Shout out to Indian Martini, said, how would you find the price point that would trigger a short squeeze? Do you use the heat map or something like ExoChart? Shout out to Indian Martini. You could use both, right? The heat map will let you know where those liquidations are sitting, and oftentimes, you know, once you tap into those liquidations, right, that could cause the short squeeze because if everybody's short up here with their liquidity sitting above, right, and you push up, once these shorts get stopped out, when you get stopped out of a short or long position, it creates a market order on the opposite side, right? So if you have shorts up here with their stop losses, tons of stop losses sitting up there, we could say to ourselves, well, hey, let's just say their stop losses start at that liquidity, right? We could say to ourselves, once these people start getting stopped out and liquidated, they're going to have to, that's going to create market buys, and that's going to cause the squeeze to the upside. So you could use things such as the liquidation heat map. I also like to use things like ExoCharts as well. I use both of them. I prefer ExoCharts, but I kind of use them together. So there you go. And the way I do it on ExoCharts is, if you guys don't know, ExoCharts allows you to look inside the candle. Actually, I have it open here. allows you to look inside the candles to actually see the orders coming in at each price. So what I'm not going to show an exact example here, but just what I like to see here is I'll try to identify where I have a significant amount of shorts entering, right? So let's just, for example, say that I can see here, and a lot of times I do like to use the footprint bar statistics. Not necessarily the case here. It's a little bit the case. But what I like to see here is I like to see heavy volume, right? And then I like to see shorts. I want to see like significant negative delta, right? Showing more people are shorting than longing. And if I see a big flood of people shorting at the bottom, I basically just zoom out, right? And I say to myself, all right, well, if people are shorting the bottom here, where are their stop losses likely going to be? Well, they're going to be above. Retail likes to put their stop losses above previous highs, right? So there's either going to be stop losses here. There's probably going to be stop losses here. And as a matter of fact, they're probably going to be above any swing high above, right? So if I could see on this candle, right, that people are entering a ton of shorts here at support and the level's not breaking, well, I could say now all that liquidity is probably sitting above this high and above this high. And then once you wind up cracking those highs, well, maybe this is it, right? We can actually check this on ExoCharts. Little advanced sauce for the Mafia. We could check the rec bubbles here and the open interest. Not really. I wouldn't really classify that as a short squeeze. But oftentimes it will look like that, right? You'll say tons of people are shorting down here. Stop losses are probably here. Stop losses are probably here. And then you kind of just watch those levels and you say, hey, if price starts breaking this significant high, we might be able to squeeze out the shorts. Again, not really what I see here in this exact example, but that's kind of how I do it. Quick little freebie there for you guys. Let's see. Shout out to John says, don't sell your Bitcoin for less than $50. Never. Yeah, shout out to John. There's a portion of my Bitcoin that I will just never sell. All right, let's continue on. Shout out to Mystic Ruin, said very good ExoChart sauce in the premium too. Yeah, you guys probably don't see me pull this up very often. I like to keep things nice and simple on the YouTube live stream because I know there's a lot of beginners here. But in the premium, we cover this more in detail. I'll actually like post what I'm looking for, and I teach a little bit more on ExoCharts in the premium Discord. But yeah, all right, so let's go ahead and push on into Solana. As we looked at yesterday, Solana tapping into that 786, getting the continued bounce off that key level of support. Get rid of this tapped weekly. At the end of the day, guys, I'm just going to give you the key levels here on Solana. Right, I'll take a look. 4-hour money flow, kind of just flat here, if I'm being totally honest. 8-hour money flow. You did get the bear divs, very similar to everything else that we looked at, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Right, you get the lower lows on your price action, higher lows on your momentum waves. Do I think this is the bottom before a new all-time high? Well, money flow says otherwise, so I'm going to stay on the side of more downside. Probably is likely to come at some point. But if we can get this 12-hour green dot and bullish divergence to confirm, if we can get that, or 16-hour green dot is confirmed, daily bullish divergence is also printing. So you're bouncing off support with your divergences, same level that we looked at yesterday. Your next key level of resistance is going to be the POC at about 145.87. If you could flip that to support, right, let's say I would expect some kind of resistance here, almost the exact situation as Bitcoin, if I'm being honest, right? Like, come down to the value area low, you're getting the divergences, the next key level is going to be your POC. If you could flip that POC, maybe we can get a bigger move up into this area of consolidation, which me personally, I would be looking at this in the context of a volume profile, right? So locally, I would look to flip that low, continue through the profile. We have a daily up here. Let's see if we have any other significant horizontal levels here. MPOCs, this is tapped, this is tapped, this is tapped, this is tapped. And we actually technically have, right? We've tapped into the 786, but we have front ran the value area low and these MPOCs and daily horizontals down here. So we have not really technically filled that range in full just yet. Similar to Bitcoin, right? We did see some turbulence on Bitcoin before we actually tapped that value area low. Right, like you come down, right, or you come down, you get a little bounce, but eventually we did get down to that value area low. So kind of similar here on Solana, but we'll see if that daily green dot can give us a push back up. 90-minute money flow also crossing into the green, so you do have that daily 90-minute money flow, market cipher B116th bullish setup. You get the green dot on the daily, 90-minute money flow crosses over at the same time. You can look for that continuation to the upside, but your next key level is 145.64, sitting there at the POC. And then if I can pull up, let me see if we have any other weekly MPOCs up there, because I bet you probably, I guess you don't. Check the monthly real quick. So you have a monthly MPOC. Oh, no, that's not printed yet. Check the dailies. There you go. So you do have a this is tapped. Whoops. This is tapped. This is tapped. That is naked. Grab that daily MPOC. So you do have a daily MPOC sitting up here just to give you guys some of those local levels to the upside. Daily MPOC, and then this one is confluent with the daily. No weekly there. You got another one sitting right here, and you got another one sitting right up there. Okay, so, I mean, obviously we have a lot of daily MPOCs, but what I'm trying to do here is just find some confluence. So I'll pull this range again. Well, there you go. Value area high, daily MPOC, daily horizontal, and then you have the daily MPOC and the value area low next, right? So I don't want to mark off too many levels, but as I say that, I'm going to go ahead and mark off too many levels. So let me pull our fib here from the high to the low. Look at that. You got golden pocket confluence here. I'll just drag that up to the POC, and then you have your value area high up here. So these would be the next local levels. Get up to the point of control of the range, flip that to support. I'd be looking to push up here into the 153 to 157 area. If we can get above that POC, we can look to take that into the value area high. And then we'll cross this bridge when we get there, right? Depending on the signals we get there, this could be an area to, of course, put in a lower high before seeing another lower low come in. And that's all based off higher time frame money flow. If something looks different up there, if the money flow starts turning around, we can look higher. But until then, that's the highest I will be willing to look until we can look at the information that presents itself as that price action prints. So there you go. Let's just grab this. Boom, boom, boom. And boom. So there you go. Those are the next big levels. POC next, 145.67. So there we go. We'll see if we can get that continued bounce on Solana. Come on, daily green dot. Come on, daily bull div. Not a strong bull div, but it is there. Higher lows, lower lows. So there we go. That's what I'll be looking at on Solana. Shout out to Thomas J. Said, I really think we're about to rip into the 94K level tonight. I hope so. I hope so. It's not far away. It's not far away. I've been waiting for this high to get broken all day, guys. In the premium Discord, we were looking at this high, talking about, hey, look at the 15-minute. Look at the 15-minute, right? 15-minute looks like it wants to print a bear div. That would call for a break of the high. And she just didn't want to do it. She almost did it here, tried again, came all the way back down, went for it again, just can't do it. Just can't do it. Unbelievable. Well, we never got the div, actually. But we'll see. I'm going to be watching that 30-minute money flow and see if we can get that to cross into the green with the 8-hour green dot to give us the bigger continuation. So all eyes on that 30-minute money flow for now. I'll actually go ahead and set an alert here on Market Cipher. Crossing up. Money flow crossing above 0, so we'll get that notification, right? Beep, beep, beep. Oh, my God, money flow crossing green on the 30-minute. Send it, baby, send it. Ain't no money, let it flow. Shout out to Panda the Prophet. Is it worth trying a 2 to 3x long from the macro bottom area to hold as long as possible next cycle, or do the fees negate the upside? Brian Varney, not necessarily. I wouldn't say the knees, the knees negate. The fees negate it, but you just got to be careful, right? Like a lot of people will think if you could catch a long from the bottom on 2 to 3x leverage. Now, don't get me wrong. If you can nail it, right? You could eventually wind up holding that trade the entire run, right? But the one thing you do want to be careful of is, depending on your entries, a lot of people think if they use 2 to 3x leverage, like they're just completely safe. This is not the case, right? When, you start to get these big liquidation wicks, right? So like Bitcoin obviously loves to sweep liquidity. And that does put like all leverage at risk. Like sometimes you can get the big cascades of leverage. And I'll tell you from experience, like a 2 to 3x leverage long, you don't want to sit in that just thinking you're scot-free because it's low leverage, because you can still get wrecked on those. So definitely be careful, but it's definitely possible. I wouldn't say the fees negate the profit, though. Short every bounce. Shout out to FedBomb. Pretty much my thought here. Pretty much my thought. Double bottom with an SFP is likely going to be the case here. Shout out to Top Shotta. I assume you probably mean something like this. Little SFP of that low. Maybe actually tap into the 88.6 level. That is something I will be looking for. But again, right, like once you long here, you got to get back into this volume profile, so you got to be aware that you are going to have resistance above you. But yeah, definitely could be the case. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, if I'm being totally transparent here. Because again, I am not in the camp that this is going to be the bottom for all-time highs. Hopefully I'm wrong. Got to have the side cash to pay the funding so you don't get liquidated too. Shout out to Daniel T. Yes, sir. Yeah, shout out to Top Shot. Definitely, if you were to say, like, hey, is that a valid long setup? I would say yes. Now, again, whether this is going to be massive long to new all-time highs or if it's going to be a lackluster retracement, right, you'll have to see what happens. I would just not be on the camp of that bringing you to all-time highs. This I would be looking at as a scalp level. The only other place I'd be interested in major swings is not until we come down to that bigger blue zone, 85, 82. So there you go. All right, let's see. Shout out to Simon, said if we don't use leverage, is it better to stay away from crypto for 3 years? Shout out to Simon. I would actually argue the opposite. I would say if you are not a trader, right, and you're just looking to invest in crypto, I would say double down on paying attention to crypto during this time. Especially if we go into a bear market. You do not want to be the person, right? And this is like very this is not an advanced strategy. This is just simple. You do not want to be the people that disappear, right? Everyone's like, crypto's over. They leave at literally the most important time in the market. If you have round-tripped bags, right, chances are 99% that if you round-trip your bags, I mean, maybe not 99%, right, but like I know a lot of people are in this situation of getting into crypto late, right? Once it's on the news, once it's mainstream, the bull market is on. They wait for those signals, bull market on. But more often than not, right, once the bull market is on, you're already far off the lows, right? So I always tell people, you want to triple down on your attention to crypto when it's in a bear market. This is where the money is made, 100%, right? This is where you could get into a position on Bitcoin and not be scared of these 30% pullbacks, not be scared of the 30% pullbacks because your entry is so low. But if you wait until the bull market starts, right, and it's like, bear market's here, I'm leaving. By the time you come back in, it's probably after you've already gotten a significant push off the highs and you've now missed out on the best opportunity to accumulate. So you want to triple down on your attention to crypto here. 100%. I said the same thing last cycle, right? Because I unfortunately started my channel right at the start of a bear market. And I was like, people are like, dang, man, that's a rough time to start a crypto channel. And it's like, not really, right? Like, this is the most important time to pay attention, right? And if you were paying attention here, when we were buying the dip here on that weekly money flow crossover into the red, you'd have a very, very, very nice entry point into this previous bear market, previous bull market, I'm already calling it, into this current bull market that we're in right now, right? So you don't want to come in late, right? All those people that come in late, because not only are you not getting the best entry, but then you're buying in on excitement, and then you start to have to endure these big pullbacks, and you're like, oh my God, maybe I'm late, right? And then this increases the chances that you're going to panic sell and then just be wrong, and then you get back in, oh no, now I bought this, oh man, and you're just stuck on that wrong side of ping pong, right? But if you're buying in down here, this 30% pullback, it's a lot easier to see this from a logical standpoint, right? You start to see this pullback and you're saying to yourself, all right, well, hey, we just broke the all-time high. The halving just happened, and I'm still massively in profit, right? You're not looking at a 30% drawdown. You're just going from, call it, 370% in profit to 240% in profit. So it's a lot easier to stomach, and it's a lot easier to make like sound decisions when you're not panicking about those bags being down. So I would say triple down on your research here and your attention to crypto during the bear market, right? Shout out to Seth Shepard, said, I mean, the DCA, BTC, if you can afford to camp still. Shout out to Seth Shepard, camping. I am in DCA Bitcoin if you can afford to camp still. Camping, are you saying you're going to camp Bitcoin? You're camping Bitcoin like it's a COD map? Shout out to Seth Shepard. Yeah, shout out to TNT, said Franklin Templeton. Franklin Templeton is crazy. Has just fired the Form 8A at 8-A for its XRP ETF on the New York Stock Exchange. Wow, 10 minutes ago. Shout out to TNT. Let's go. I hope that pumps us. I hope it pumps us. Seth said, sorry, I can't talk. Shout out to AP, says, I'm paying attention, and I will be buying hard in 6 to 8 months from now. I am never really out. Shout out to AP. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And again, right, like you don't have to pay attention to every single move in the bear market, but like just keeping your nose to the floor, as they say. Is that what they say? Did I just make that up? I might have just grown up with hunting dogs. Nose is always to the floor. Tracking birds. Sell everything, including the wife. Buy the bottom. You can always buy another wife near the top. Rinse and repeat. Shout out to Neon Visual. I can't legally agree with you here because Mrs. Candles might be able to hear me. Anyway, let's continue on here. So we took a look at ETH. We took a look at Solana. Let's take a quick look at Zcash. Let's come on over to the alt template. All right, let's take a look here. So where's our Zcash chart? What is this? This is the Bybit chart. There we are. Okay, so Zcash still just playing around with this Fibonacci extension zone. If we continue up, the next target I'll be looking at, 822 to 946. If you break above that, you have the last level here at about $1,300. But we're just still kind of in that same situation. We're just playing around with this Fib extension zone. Now, taking a look at the higher time frames, you do have daily bearish divergences printing. Money flow kind of flat here. You know, you could argue that maybe this is the top of the money flow wave. It's kind of hard to front run that. We could take a look at the 16-hour, take a look at the 12-hour, 10-hour. 10-hour trying to come out. 4-hour attempting to come out as well. This thing has obviously been on a rip here, so, you know, you got to be aware. Like, money flow tries to come out, nah. Money flow tries to come out, nah. Not very common for money flow, to be honest, but, you know, in an aggressive trend like this, you do have to be a bit careful. So we'll see. If you can hold these levels of support, I'd be looking up towards 822 to 947. Taking a look at the higher time frames, 2-day money flow. Red dot printing, but your money flow is still thick in the green. Your 3-day money flow is in the green. 4-day money flow looking healthy as well. 5-day money flow coming up still. 6-day money flow, obviously a completely different story than what is being told on Bitcoin. But yeah, at face value, I could say this money flow looks 10 times better than any other thing in the market, right? Like, this is obviously doing the opposite, which is clear here because Zcash is like one of the only things that are just flying. So yeah, other than that, not too much of an update, right? Key levels of support. I could probably update this fib. I assume this is probably outdated. Oh, no, that's the extensions. Let me just pull. We just don't have a lot of confluence there on the value area high. But your key level of support is definitely going to be, let me turn off this 786 and the golden pocket. Yeah, I mean, you have your anchored VWAP here from the low coming in at about $313. That's a pretty large drop from where we are right now. Next key level of support underneath that is going to be your value area high at 240. But again, I mean, you're pretty far away from that, right? If you pull your local fib here, yeah, I mean, this would be the next big zone of support, in my opinion, right? Once you lose this, looking down to the value area high, once you get accepted into the range, you can look for to fill that range in full. But we'll see. If you pull back, this would be the next technical area that I'd be looking at for support. You got the anchored VWAP, the 786, and then, you know, if it takes you some time to get down there, this anchored VWAP will probably move up. And it's probably going to be confluent somewhere in that Fibonacci retracement zone. And then you would hope for a higher low and a higher high. But other than that, not really too much of an update here on Zcash. Just still hanging out up here, attempting to break out of this Fibonacci extension zone. So we'll see. See if we can make it up to 829.83. Shout out to Neon Visual. Said every time you buy the bottom, you're taking someone's dreams away. Bro, it's crazy. That's insane. Let's see. I use the bear market to build as large of a cash pile as possible to deploy as the weekly money flow starts to curve or round out. Well, That's my plan anyways. Shout out to Brian Varney. Not too bad. Not too bad. Because, again, right, you're not going to be able to snipe, depending on if you're waiting for that money flow crossover on the weekly to happen or if you're trying to front run it. You could get a better entry, of course, right? And that's why I like to dollar cost average in. I'm not trying to snipe the exact bottom, right? If I were waiting for 12 to 14K, I would have been waiting right here. And I would have been sitting there with my whole bag. We would have missed it. And then I would have been like, oh, my God, now I got to buy on the way up, right? That's why dollar cost averaging is always going to be the better situation, right, for long-term accumulation. But again, it's like if you wait for that money flow crossover, which I believe for the first time, the little fake out you had right here, it's like, you're buying off the bottom. But if you can try to figure out, once that daily bullish divergence confirms, higher lows, lower lows, right? At that point, it's like at least you can, say, hey, we got the bullish divergence, right? You've already been dollar cost averaging in. You already come into profit, very likely. And then as you start pushing up, money flow turns green, and you're like, all right, I'm just going to sit back and let this thing ride. This is actually right around where I stopped dollar cost averaging in. And the reason for that was because we were approaching our value area low of that bull market range. And we knew that once we got above that 30K level, that we were very likely to see the fulfill this range into 50K, which is exactly what wound up happening. So I wasn't going to keep dollar cost averaging on the way up. I dollar cost average on the way down, bing bong around, buy, and then I cut it off like right here. And then we continued up. So yeah, not a bad thing. Right? Wait for that money flow to round up. Shout out to Brian Varney. Shout out to Golden Child, said I use the bear market to buy alts at their bottoms so I can have them threaten to break the lows and go lower at the height of the bull run. at least this time that's what it's looking like. Shout out to Golden Child. I don't really have a big update on dominance here, guys. We're just still attempting to break down here from our key level of resistance. Hopefully this is it. We got the weekly red dot printing, money flow rolling over, 4-day money flow, looking to cross over into the red. The hope here is that 4-day money flow can cross over into the red, and we can start seeing dominance just dump on down here. And hopefully that happens on a retracement on Bitcoin, and we could see the alt start to perform really well, right? That case for the, you can call it an alt season, right? I don't know if it's going to be the explosive alt season everybody wants, but that situation is still at play here potentially. Caleb says, drop to 85, then lift off. I'll say this. I'm not looking at 85K to be the bottom of the bear market. But it is a level of support where I will be looking for swing longs, right? It doesn't, every long I take from now on is not just going to be a long for new all-time highs, but it doesn't mean I won't long, right? There's going to be longs within bear markets, right? Not as many longs as shorts, right? But like if you get down to a key level, right? Let's, just look at this as a previous case. There's your key level, right? You reclaim, you wind up getting a pretty significant retracement of 45%. If I can make money on that, I'm going to, right? But the longer term kind of situation remains that lower highs and lower lows are more likely. So you just have to be aware of that, and you might want to be hedging that long or taking profit on that long and flipping short for the continuation down. Again, identified by money flow, right? Money flow in the red. Money flow in the red, right? So if I was bouncing here with money flow coming up, I would say, hey, maybe a higher low and a higher high. And this was actually even a little confusing. I don't want to say confusing, but like money flow tried to come back up here, but sure enough, rolled right back over. So yeah. Let's take a look at Asters. Somebody said Asters taking off. Let's take a look here. That's not it. Whoops. Do we not have an Aster chart? We have to. There it is. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, so we could get rid of this daily MPLC's top. We have not looked at this in quite some time. Fibonacci retracement, invalidated. This is all old. Let me go ahead and pull this volume profile to the end of the range here. Readjust this a bit. All right, and then we did have this lick level. Hey, there you go, guys. There is the big liquidation. We knew those licks were there. We knew we knew that liquidity was below this low. Sweep it. Anyway, so yeah, nice little rounded bottom of some kind there. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this local. How am I going to pull this? Well, I'll just show you from a higher time frame perspective. There's your POC. There's your value area high. So here's your upper area value, right? I would love to get accepted back in here, right? Like this is the biggest level on the chart, in my opinion, right? $1.61. This is the doorway to higher prices. This is what you need to flip in order to get a bigger move up, potentially towards about $2. Now let's pull our fib here as well. Let's pull it from the high all the way to the low. Got a little confluence there on the value area high. Now, this is obviously very far away, but I'm just marking out the macro levels for you. No POC confluence, or on the golden pocket at least. So I'd mark this out like this. Also, probably have some liquidity sitting above this wick here. So these would be the next major targets on Aster. If it does continue up here, let me just pull this as well. Okay, so if we do continue up, this would be the next zone I would look at between $1.45 and $1.63. Definitely going to be resistance. Let's take a look at the higher time frames. Oh, man, I just don't have the information, unfortunately. Even the daily. No money flow on the daily. Your red dot is looking to print, but I do not have money flow. Yeah, it's going to be hard to look at money flow on this just because I don't have these higher time frames. Like, I don't know if this money flow would be crossing into the red or the green here. If it was in a big red wave crossing into the green, that would look really bullish. If it was the opposite, it would obviously not look the same. So very hard for me to take that long-term call here. But I will just say if you do continue up, this is definitely the level you want to look at. You have no weekly up there. You do have the monthly up there, so that is definitely going to be a big level. And then you have daily right here. All right, so I'm building out confluence here. You have a daily golden pocket confluence. And then above that, you have the value area low, 786, monthly value area low. So these are going to be the two biggest levels of resistance. This value area low is going to be absolutely key. You got the monthly up there. You got the daily MPOC. So these are the next two targets to the upside. And you do have to be careful here, guys, because if this is going to be, again, I can't say this because I don't know if the money flow is coming out on the higher time frames. But this is definitely a zone to potentially put in some pretty decent rejections, right? Until we get accepted into this range and hold it as support, that's where we can look for the bigger move up towards the highs. But until then, got confluence here and got confluence here. First zone sits between $1.45 and $1.50, and then the second zone sits here at about $1.61. Once you start flipping that, we can look for the bigger push. And if we take a look at it from a visible range volume profile perspective, let's see where the volume's sitting at here. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of high volume node here. You got a little bit of, I mean, you can even see high volume node within the first level. You got a little peak in volume here. But overall, if we could hold above where we're at right now, flip that golden pocket, you have a fall off in volume somewhat. It's not 100% zero, right? You have a little spike, right? But overall, all your volume's down here, and the rest of it is up here. So that's what I'd be looking at on Aster. I wish I had higher time frames to look at those bigger confirmations. Yo, shout out to Bobby said, Frankie Pinky Ring. How you doing, kiddo? How's the closing candle? We could take a look at the daily here real quick on Biddy. Daily candle has now closed above our value area low. This is a decent sign right now. As you guys know, I'm not a huge person. I'm not a huge like daily candle closure unless it's something specific. Like we actually talked about this yesterday, right? Unless there's something like specific that I'm looking for, like a weekly candle closure below the 50-week moving average or a daily candle closure above a key level, which I was looking for today. You can see the daily candle did close up here. I wouldn't say this guarantees. Like I don't really know. It's like a lot of people ask me, why don't you pay attention to the daily candle close? Well, it's like, unless I have a key level that I want to close on top of, there's no real and even if I am looking to close above this level, like I don't look at this as a major confirmation that we're about to continue up. Sure, it's a good sign, right? Like close the daily above the value area low. We're back inside the value. That's nice, especially with that daily candle closure. But you know, at the end of the day, I mean, this thing could just, I just don't look at like daily candle confirmations as like a big signal. Again, unless it's on something big like a 50-week moving average or something. But we did close above that value area low, which would be a nice sign here. As long as we can hold above this, right, we could look to continue up maybe towards the POC and some of the other local levels that we looked at earlier today, 94K being the first level. So we'll see. But yeah, there's your daily candle closure. closure. Above that value area low. Thank God. Thank you, Frankie. It's Granny. Shout out to Crypto Granny. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, Crypto Granny. We love you. Shout out to MMK. Said, sir, what is your thoughts on Bitcoin? What is your view on Bitcoin? If you scrub back to the beginning of the stream, we went over Bitcoin's usually the first thing that we look at, or I should say always the first thing that we look at. I covered all the key levels, my longer-term sentiment, short-term sentiment, low time frame levels, high time frame levels, etc. Just scrub back to the beginning of the stream. You got all the sauce on Bitcoin. With a big boy green dot, too. Yes, daily double green dot here as well. No divergence, unfortunately. But you do have the double green dot. So hopefully that 90-minute money flow can crack into the green and give us the continuation, right? I'd be okay getting retest of the value area low, just to be clear. Maybe even the 786 a little lower. But once we start breaking that 90,103 level, not looking good, bruv. I'm going to stop out of that long, and we will be coming down lower. But hopefully we can stay up above here. Shout out to Andy, said some insight on XRP. We actually just looked at XRP. If you scrub back a little bit, you'll see it pop up. Oh, no, we didn't look at XRP. I'm sorry. Shout out to Andy. We do these live streams so much, I forget exactly when we look at stuff. So I will take a quick look at XRP. Zero update. Same thing as yesterday. If you tuned in yesterday, there's no real update here. But next key level, down below, golden pocket, value area low, /786 retracement. This is still front ran, so I am still looking at this as a valid level. So we'll see, right? We've gone from the value area high. Obviously, we filled the whole range in full on that wick. We got back to the high, back to the POC, lose the POC, tried to get to the low, barely front ran it. So for me personally, remain below the POC. Sellers are in control. That's your next key level of support. If you can get a push back up, flip the POC, your biggest level of resistance is still sitting here at 265 to about 280. Other than that, like not really much of an update. I could take a look at Market Cipher for you guys. 4 hour... Same thing, kind of like an exaggerated bull div. The problem is we front ran these levels, which I don't love. 8 hour, VWAP rolling over, 16 hour. Daily green dot looking to print as well. No real divergence here, but you do have the green dot potentially incoming. But for me, personally, this is a no trade zone for XRP. I'd rather look for longs at support or look for shorts at resistance, right? Other than that, we're just still sitting within our range. So we'll see if we can make it down here to the 205 to 197 level. Hopefully that holds. You would have the kind of volume profile on your side there. Support right underneath the value area low. Reclaim. We might be able to come and fill that range again. But until that happens, right, we'll have to see if we have those confirmations that pop up and vice versa, right? We flip up here. We'll look for the confirmations for the move back down. Once we flip this level to support up here at the previous value area low at about 280, that's where we start to feel good about a bigger move to the upside. The problem here is, again, the high time frame money flow. 5-day money flow in the red, 6-day money flow just crossed over into the red, and that is eerily close to the weekly money flow, also looking to cross over into the red. Last time we had a weekly money flow crossover, wasn't even that dramatic, but still gives you a significant drop to the downside. Wick to wick of about 29%, right? So these weekly money flow crossovers, I look at them a little differently on altcoins than I do on Bitcoin because these oscillate a lot more than Bitcoin because they're more volatile. But weekly money flow is coming out. Hopefully we can get that green dot, but overall I would still be cautious of this trend continuing down based off your money flow. Nice and simple, right? Money flow comes out, you look for the continuation to the downside. Shout out to Mr. B, said CRV relatively strong. Yeah, a lot of Bitcoins. A lot of altcoins got nice bounces today. All right, let's take a look here. Just get my bearings of what we were looking at here. So, all right, so you had your golden pocket, melted through it, tapped the 786, tried to lose the 786. Now you're just playing around on this. I'm going to take this off because this is already tapped. I'm going to pull the new local fib from the low to the high. Here's your key level of support, golden pocket, 786, value area low. Now, in general, obviously, this value area low is going to be very important to hold. We do have bullish divergences on the 4 hour. Whoops. No bull divs on the 6 hour. No bull divs on the 12. Yeah, slightly lower low here. It's not pretty, but You got your 12-hour bull div at the value area low. Again, this is not where I am getting overly bearish, right? Doesn't mean you can't continue down, but this is just not a place where I would look to take a short. I would need to have some kind of a retracement like this to then short the green candles, right? So not interested in a short here. If anything, I would have to be interested in a long because it's support. I'm not saying it's a beautiful setup or anything, but you know, you do have the bull divs printing here. If we could stay on top of this value area low slash golden pocket 786 retracement ending at about 41 cents, well, then we can say, hey, we could stay inside the value and maybe continue up a little bit more, eventually targeting the POC, sitting at 61 cents. But, of course, you are going to have this local resistance ahead of you as well, so you do have to be aware of that, right? Let's see here. Whoops. So I don't want to give too many levels here. So I'm gonna leave this off. I'm not gonna complicate this. What I will do is I will pull the fib here from the high to the low. You can see golden pocket resistance there. Yeah, I'm not gonna cover all the local levels. I'm just gonna say this: if these bull divs print, right, it could help you on the way up here to that POC. But you do have to be aware that you're gonna have these Fibonacci retracements, and in these strong downtrends, guys. And if you don't think this is a strong downtrend, definitely possible, right? So again, I wouldn't say this necessarily. Let's look at the higher time frames before I make that statement. Yeah, 2-day money flow coming out, 3-day money flow coming out. You have the green dots printing. Yeah, all this money flow just doesn't look super nice. Look at this money flow tanking to the downside. But you do have the div, so maybe we can get a little bit of a rally. A local target I would watch would be the local golden pocket 786 sitting right here, between 49 and 51 cents. Lose this 786, I am going to be looking to crack the lows. Let me just see this real quick as well. Scam wick to the high. Yeah. Got to hold these levels, guys. If we can't hold these lows, I'm probably looking down to this value area closer to 31 cents. Good news is you're inside your profile. Hopefully you can stick it and continue up. This would be the next big target to the upside. So there you go. That is what I'd be looking at on CRV. And we're not talking about the Honda. Shout out to Frankie. Shout out to Moonlit. Said, Frankie, why don't you use the leapfrog indicator? It doesn't exist. Shout out to Moonlit. I would use it if it was real. Is it one word? It's not real. 3i Atlas coming in and sucking up all the cows here. Let's see. Any optimism left in OP? Probably the same story as just about every other alt. For the most part, right? Unless you see something like Zcash that's kind of on its own time, I would assume it's probably going to looking very similar to a lot of other stuff. Let's take a look here. We haven't looked at OP in a long time. As a matter of fact, we haven't looked at it since August, apparently. Yeah, I mean, this is in that kind of situation where it's like, I can't look left, right? I just can't find those local levels. Those support levels. The only way I can look is, only thing I can look at here is your golden pocket. Let me come on down to like a 4-hour here. All right, all I can do is like pull from the wick to the high. You tapped, look at that tap on that golden pocket. Good Lord. So yeah, I mean, listen, I don't like the golden pocket tap twice, but for like the bigger, higher time frame levels, right, or the macro levels, if you lose this golden pocket, you could be on your way to the 786 here at 27 cents. However, we can look locally here. Yeah, and there you are. You're tapping the zone. This is definitely a zone that you do not want to lose. If we lose that 786, I'm looking to take out this low here at 31 cents. And to look underneath that and say, like, where are your next key levels? Well, your next significant retracement, if you lose this local 786, I mean, you have the golden pocket here. It's already been tapped. So I don't really put a lot of weight on them for a second time. But, maybe get a double bottom on the golden pocket. I don't see that being very common. But if you lose that golden pocket, I would have to be looking down towards that 786 at about 27 cents. The only other thing I can look at is if we take a look at the extension levels, right, which probably bring you down towards that golden pocket. Or 786. Yeah, so if you lose the 786 at 34 cents, 34 and a half cents, technically you have the tapped golden pocket, but again, I don't pay much attention to that, but it is there. So if you lose the 786 at 34 cents, I'd pretty much be looking at that next big zone to be sitting between about 28 and 26 cents. Fibonacci extensions and the full 786 retracement level down there. Maybe we can get a daily or something. You do have a daily here on that 786, which is a nice little backup. So you have the 786 and a daily there. No weekly. That's about it, right? So this is your key level, 34 and a half cents. You want to hold this. You lose this, I'm looking at least down to 32 to 31, but more than likely, I wouldn't really expect this to hold up. So I'd probably be looking down here. Hopefully it holds, though. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on OP or OP, as some people like to call it. Take a look at the 2-day. Money flow coming out. Just that all looks the same as everything else. 4-day money flow, right? Like maybe we got to wait for this 4-day money flow to come up. It could take some time. There could be a lot of choppiness, but these higher time frame money flows, like we'll see. I mean, if Bitcoin gets the retracement, maybe we see this scoot to the upside, but I would say overall it's looking very similar to everything else. Right, there's your daily green dot looking to print. You do not have the bull div though, but you do have the green dot looking to print. So hopefully you can hold this for at least some kind of a push to the upside. Shout out to Sandre. I don't know if you I don't know if it's how I say your name, but thank you for the super chat, bro. He said TC losing 92,000 tonight. I guess that meant BTC losing 92,000 tonight. Maybe. I wish I had like a super strong. I wish I felt more confident in this low to argue against that and be like, oh my God, no way, man, we're inside the value. And there are times where I would say that. But it's really when all the indicators and all the signals are pointing in the same direction. Here, I would say I will take one last shot at adding to the long down here. And then if we wind up losing that, I'm out. I'm out until we come back down to those lower levels that we talked about earlier today. What I would look at, if you're going to break 92K, I think maybe that 4-hour red dot might have a good chance of doing it. But we'll see. If it's just going to give you that push down for the retest here on the value area low, let me pull up our actual Bitcoin chart here. If it does wind up just bringing you into your Fibonacci retracements, which the lowest I would like that to go is 90,159. But once you start losing that, definitely looking down in the 80s. And as a matter of fact, I wouldn't even really want to test this. I would much prefer hold the local fib here, which is confluent with our value area low. But again, right, that 4-hour red dot prints hasn't even printed yet, right? So I would honestly not be surprised at that. Like I am not, again, I will repeat this again. I am not in the camp that this is the low. Just because I'm looking to build along here for a potential move up, like if I stop out of that, it's no big deal. I'll just look for the next trade. But I am not in the camp that this is the low. It's like every time I think we bounce, everyone's like, wait, is that the low? It's like my sentiment, we're more often than not, like this is why I covered this yesterday and the day before, right? Like even if we got to push up to 103K, think about if we were seeing these massive green candles, how bullish people would feel, right? But that doesn't, even that would not change. And it wouldn't even really be 103K. I guess it would actually be closer to like 102.5 maybe. 103K, right? Like even if we got the push back up here, right? Like people would be like, oh my God, how could you be bearish, right? But this has not changed my long-term sentiment on the higher time frames. But the 2-day money flow coming out, so it's definitely an area that you could reject, put in a lower high before coming lower. So I'm definitely not in the camp that this is the low. I want to be clear about that. And again, right, like this late in the cycle, after closing these weekly candles down below, hopefully we don't close the second weekly candle. We'll see, guys. If you can get back above that 50-week moving average and close the weekly candle, then we can start talking about maybe we dodged a bullet. But until that happens, like I am looking to fade these highs for lower prices just based off the high time frame money flow. And every single time we lose that 50-week moving average this late in the cycle, we have literally never, not one time, been able to reclaim it. Lose it, bearish retest, bear market. Lose it, bearish retest, bear market. Lose it, bearish retest. You can't see this bearish retest because it was very low time frame. Bearish retest, bear market. So I'm hoping that's not the case, right? But that's just what it's been every single time. So that is why I am being very suspicious on those moves up, right? I'm going to keep my sentiment. It's like even 103K bounce is not going to really change that for me, unfortunately. Shout out to Sonder. Did I say Sonder? I think that's it. Not Sondre. Sonder said, I look for long too, but I don't think the low is in. Yeah, shout out to Sonder. I would agree with that, 100%. Thank you for the super chats, brother. I appreciate you so much. Did Top G get his hat and send a pic with it on? I want to... Oh, there's something going off. There we go. Shout out to Sonder. You were right. 92K lost. That was the signal. But there we go. That was actually an older alert that I had. Did Top G get his hat and send a picture with it on? I want to know if that's the official Top G or some clown pretending to get you to look at whiff. Shout out to Michael S. I don't even know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I wish I could answer that question better. Go buy Leapfrog. What is Leapfrog? What is Leapfrog? Like the children's toy? I don't know what you're talking about. Shout out to Moonlit. Let me know, brother. Top Shotta says double bottom with an SFP retest of the 50-week moving average. Then remember my name. Top Shotta. Top Shotta. How can we forget that, brother? How can we forget that? Telcoin. I could take a quick look at Tel. I don't know if we have a Telcoin chart, if I'm being honest. I don't think we do. All right. Well, we'll have to build one out here. I only have the spot chart. Okay. I will take this. Yeah, screw it. We'll take the KuCoin chart here. All right, let's see. So I'm just going to pull some volume profiles here. Pull the second one from the highs. So this is your upper value. Bada boom, bada bang. There's your rejection of the value area low. Here's your lower value. So here's your bear market range. Here is your 2021 bull market range. And we just, I mean, pretty much like everything else, we're kind of just bing-bonging around these two areas of value. Got the retest of the value area low. That is nice, holding that as support pretty aggressively right now. I mean, your next major move to the upside is... Yeah, I mean, this is your doorway to higher prices right up here. Whoops. Sitting at 0.0115. Break above that, then you can start looking at higher prices. But until then, of course, this value area low is going to be resistance until proven otherwise. This one was accompanied by a weekly bearish divergence. So we'll see if you can make it up there. That is the level to flip to look up a bit more closer to the 2-cent zone. And then on the moves to the downside, I mean, really clear levels here. Doorway to lower prices. And there is your doorway to higher prices, right? Big level number 1, big level number 2. Until then, you are pretty much just ranging around in what we could call a local volume profile. There it is, right? So this is your local range between, you have your value area low at 0.003, call it 0.004 for simplicity. POC sitting at 0.0054. Value area high, which we're hitting right now at 0.0072. But once you get, if you can get the breakout here, this is really the big level to look at. I'm actually going to change this to gold so we know it's special. Got to get above that. Till then, bing-bonging around in the range. This is not a place I would look for a long, only because you've already gotten a move up, right? The longs need to be taken on red candles into key support. But yeah, that would be your local range. And then your doorway to lower prices, 0.002758. Doorway to higher prices, 0.011506. Take a look at the higher time frames here. I would just watch this range, being totally honest. I mean, I don't really see... Let's take a look at the 3-day. I mean, all your VWAPs are rolling over. You're at resistance, at least on the higher time frames. Your VWAPs are rolling over. Red dot looking to print. Money flow trying to come up. I mean, this is just the only thing I can look for here. I'm not saying I would short this, but the only thing I can look for here is a short. It's either no trade or a short. I can't just like look to long on a breakout. It's just not the way I trade. Not a breakout trader. Not that I don't ever take breakout trades, but when I do, they are very, very far and few between and based off very specific confirmations. I'm not just hoping for a breakout. So let me go ahead and pull this and that, right? So there's your local range. You can take those numbers and get them on your chart. And then, again, 0.00275. Doorway to lower prices, doorway to higher prices, 0.011506, right? I'm not really super excited until we get back into that upper range. Have any fib confluence here? Yeah. Right on the value area low. There's some local support here at the value area low. And then once you lose this 786 at 0.0035, looking to take out this low probably. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get that daily red dot not to be super aggressive. Hopefully you can just get, if this money flow continues up, right? Whoops. If this money flow continues to the upside, red dot could give you the drop down, right? And then if you eventually print that green dot, if that money flow crosses into the green, you could look for the higher low and a potential higher high. But we'd have to see what money flow. I don't know what this money flow is going to look like if and when we get down here. If it looks like trash, I would not be looking for the bounce. But if it's coming up still, then you can look for the higher low and the higher high because that money flow crossover would indicate that you're looking for the overall trend to continue up. But we'll see. We'll see what kind of resistance that value area high can give us. 4 hour on Bitcoin. Don't like it. Shout out to Sonder. Thank you for the super chat. Mad super chats today, Sonder. I appreciate you so much. Let's take a look. 4 hour on Biddy. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I don't like about the 4 hour is just the fact that you have that red dot printing, and your money flow is in the red. You do have the bull div, but again, as we talked about yesterday, guys, bull divs are not all created equal, right? A 4 hour bull div with money flow coming out is not going to be the same thing or as bullish as a 4 hour bullish divergence with money flow smoothly trending to the upside. This is what gives you those full rotations, and I can pull up our previous range just to kind of show that. All right, we'll drop a little education for the mafia here. Pull up this upper range, right? And I'll even hide these boxes. Whoops. All right, and I'll just use the 4 hour as an example. Try to find this situation like right here, right? You come down to the value area low, and just as any volume profile is treated, you're not looking for shorts here. What are you looking for? You're looking for longs, right? But would you anticipate this long to give you a full rotation into this value area high? I personally would not. And the reason for that is because your 4 hour money flow is trending out, indicating the higher probability is a lackluster bounce for a lower high and a lower low, right? To the bodies of your candles. Eventually, we did get an actual lower low fully. But the overall anticipation there is lackluster bounce, lower high, lower low. Now, when you're looking for the full rotation to the upside, right, what do we have here? Well, you have 4 hour bullish divergences, but what do you have at the same time, right? 4 hour bull div confirms, and then as you get that rotation back into the volume profile, your money flow comes up. At that point, you can look for the overall trend to continue to the upside, targeting the value area high. Money flow comes up, high probability of the fill. If money flow is not coming up and it's going in the opposite direction, which is down, you are not expecting that full rotation, right? It's very simple. If money flow is coming out almost every single time, unless it's a rare case where I'm expecting a fake out, then I am going to be looking for lower highs and lower lows, regardless of if it fakes out or not. If it fakes out, then I'm just wrong about that, and that's okay. And then the next time money flow comes out, I will still anticipate the trend to continue down. I'm not going to change. I wouldn't change the strategy because it didn't play out one time, right, or 2 times or 3 times. It's all about probabilities, right? Not guaranteeing one signal is going to give you the exact move that you're looking for every time, right? So yeah, on the 4 hour, what do I like about it? I mean, you could say that the 4 hour bull div is not a bad sign. But again, it's not as bullish as a 4-hour bull div if we have money flow coming up, right? But hopefully it could work its way to the upside. But again, my bias here, guys, is lower prices to come. Whether we get the retracement first and then we get the lower low, or if we just melt down out of here. I'm totally fine getting stopped out of my long, right? No big deal. Just look down towards that next level, which, of course, is going to be the $88,600 value area high. Not a big level. I will be looking for potential scalps down there, but the next big zone is still sitting between $85,000 and $82,000. So we'll see. See if we can hold on top of this. Value area low, $91,500. Not looking good right now, but we'll see what happens. And hopefully we can get some kind of a move here. Some kind of relief to come in at some point. If it's not going to come in here, hopefully it comes in down here. Because if it doesn't, yikes. All right. Got a jet. Thanks. Shout out to Seth Shepard. Thank you for being here, brother. I actually have to jet as well. Wow. 7:30 on the dot, guys. We are right on time. But yeah, if you just tuned in, guys, scrub back to the beginning of the stream. You'll get all the sauce on Bitcoin and the altcoins that we looked at. I don't remember all the exact altcoins. Ethereum, Solana, XRP. Scrub back to the beginning of the stream to get all the sauce. And hopefully, hopefully we can get some kind of relief to come in here at some point, guys. But I'll keep you updated here on Give Me 85. Shout out to Mystic Ruin. I wouldn't mind either way. I am, to be quite honest, I am... The longer I am in crypto, guys, the more I am just like, and I think a lot of you guys will get to this point where, it's just the emotions kind of just slowly die, right? Like if we go into a bear market, I think trading helps as well, right? Because like this isn't really the end of the cycle for us, right? If it is the bear market, right, we're still gonna have plenty of money to be made on the way down, but it's like these drawdowns, like I get it, right? Like. What are we down here? 28%, right? I get it. 28% down, I guess, if you bought into the top, like a 28, 30% drawdown is miserable. I get it. And I know a lot of the pain comes from the altcoins, but 30% down on Bitcoin, guys, is not a big deal, right? Like we see a 30% move to the downside or the upside in like a day or two, right? So it's like, it's just like, I think over time, like the emotions just slowly die, right? Like even in the previous bear market, like it was very like non-emotional about this, right? Because like you're making money on the way down, you've taken profits properly, and you actually start to get excited for the bear markets. And I've said this before, I am in a weird way a little bit excited for the bear market, right? Because it's just like, I don't know. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just... I don't know. There's something about the bear market vibes. It's like, oh, you get a little bit, obviously YouTube attention isn't as... extravagant as in a bull market, but I don't know. It's like I think I see the most growth in a lot of the CandleMafia members in the bear market because it's like the people who are sticking here learning how to trade. Again, doesn't make a difference if you're in a bull market or a bear market for trading, but the people who stick around, right? It's like these are the people who are really putting in the work, and I actually see a lot of growth there in the bear markets, and I see growth in the bull markets as well. But I don't know. There's something. Maybe it's because I started my channel in the bear market. There's something about the bear market, man. I also, if I had to pick, I do prefer to short rather than long. Don't ask me why. It's just, I don't know. It's a personal preference. So it is kind of like one of my favorite market environments to trade in, or has been previously. So we'll see, guys. We're holding the support right now. If we lose it, we're looking down to $85,000 to $82,000, but we'll see if we can stay on top of this value area low. If we're going to lose it, watch that 4-hour red dot to print, and if we're going to get the continuation up, see if we can get that 30-minute money flow crossover, which I assume this 8-hour red dot is confirmed now. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really like that, to be honest. I really wanted to see this 30-minute money flow crossover printing or happening at the same time as this green dot printing. Now it's confirmed, so that setup is kind of invalidated at this point. So we'll see. If we drop down, you have the key levels of support to look at, and if we see some crazy moves, I'll update you guys with a market update tomorrow. But if not, I will see you right here. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. Shout out to TDK, shout out to Panda the Prophet, shout out to Mystic Ruin, Lucia, Moonlit, Fabio, Frankie Candles in the chat, Tony D LARPing as me. Shout out to Keeping It Real, Fox 3, Mr. B, Seth Shepard, Olympic, and last but not least, your comrade. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. You know the rest. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Coach, what's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside.